we are live.
It records automatically.
Got it. Excellent. Excellent. Tarek, are you going on vacation soon? I think
Friday's
you are,
my last
right?
day.
Friday's your last day. Okay. I wonder you're very happy. You seem happy.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to focus before vacation.
All right.
Oh, we have two participants, someone named Keith and someone named Kira. Oh, we
Early.
should entertain them with some of the exciting banter I was talking about. How about those Jets?
Any hidden talent? Oh God.
I mean, obviously it's not even football season.
No, we need someone with a hidden talent just to surprise everyone right on. I mean, it is 1 p.m. now, so we'll give it maybe 1 more minute and then we'll just run through the deck and the demo. Yeah.
I don't think I really have any hidden talents.
Not yet. I mean, It's never too late.
I mean, hidden is something that you don't really advertise.
Well, yeah, that's why. I mean, it will be a first during a webinar while we're waiting.
Pull it out? Yeah.
Just yeah.
I start juggling or something.
Right. More people joining.
We'll just wait a few more minutes before we get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we have plenty of time to go through all of this. Tarek, how was the weather? I heard that it was a little too hot and humid today, at least in Malmo. Is it the same thing for you?
I mean, it's been stormy in southern Sweden, so it's a bit humid, but it's pouring too. So right now it's sunny.
Okay.
But the joy of Sweden is that the sun sets at like 10 p.m. So
that's right.
What about New York? Is it still very hot?
It is hot. Today actually is the hottest day of the week. So I'm glad to be inside and we'll be here until the sun is gone.
I'll be in Canada in 2 weeks. I'm hoping for good weather there too.
Oh, I'm sure it's hopefully nicer than here. I guess depending on where you are. Are you close to the East Coast, right?
Yeah, I'm 6 hours from New York. Ottawa's 6 hours from New York, and then we're gonna have we're gonna go to a cottage or a summer house near Montreal.
Nice. Nice. All right, well, Tarek, I think we're 2 minutes in. Maybe we can get started and then we'll wait for more people to join. I just want to make sure that we are good with time.
Sounds good.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you for joining. Tarek and I are very excited to have you here today as we go through the session where we'll talk about streamlining your sales process using Salesforce and the GetAccept integration in Salesforce specifically. I would like to start by briefly introducing myself and my colleague Tarek here. My name is Ali and I am the US Head of Sales at GetAccept. I joined in customer success capacity about 4 years ago. So I work very closely with our Salesforce customers, and I have onboarded / co-onboarded most of our Salesforce customers that are based in the US. And then joining me today, my colleague Tarek is really one of our fantastic product managers who is the expert when it comes to our integrations, not only in terms of how they work, but also the value to the customers and the intent behind every change that we make. I have to say that he's really one of the main drivers behind the Salesforce integration. So I couldn't really think of anyone better to join me here today. So thank you for being here, Tarek. I know it's late for you in the day.
Thanks for that intro, Ali. It's not too late. It's 7 o'clock in Sweden. That's acceptable.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. And maybe before we jump into the agenda for today's short webinar, I want to ask you a question, Tarek. So you've been here for a good amount of time now, and I'm sure you've seen our Salesforce integration pretty much evolve significantly over the past few months. And I just wanted to hear from you. What would you say the driving force behind all of this, and where do you think we're headed with the integration in the next few months?
I think one of the key things to think about when it comes to GetAccept and our Salesforce integration is that since I joined and before, we believe in integrations that actually utilize what Salesforce is giving you. And we really put ourselves in the shoes of sales reps, where you work from a CRM and there's a lot of challenges to actually get the most out of your CRM. So it's a buzzword and everyone talks about tech stack consolidation, getting the most out of your CRM, controlling your sales process. But we really believe it, and you can see it in the product we're building. So it's all about keeping you in Salesforce, utilizing GetAccept with what Salesforce is doing for you, and making sure that we're flexible for your sales process. We don't impose a sales process on you. We strengthen your existing sales process wherever you are in your kind of digital transformation journey, whether you're just starting with Salesforce or you've been using it for years and are trying to get even more out of it. So I think that's kind of the focus for us always. How do we help people get more out of their CRM and more out of their sales process using GetAccept?
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you for sharing. I'm excited to see what you're gonna demo us today with the integration. So let's jump right into the agenda for today. Really quickly, I'll go through a very brief introduction to our product, to GetAccept, in terms of the challenge that we're solving and how we specifically do that within Salesforce, and we'll jump right into a live demo. I'll start with a few minutes in the first half of our product, the deal room, that you'll see in a little bit, and then we'll give it up to Tarek that will walk us through the quoting proposals and a few kind of hidden tricks that we have for you today that you'll see through the demo. Really quickly, I want to start with some numbers here. I'm sure anyone who's interested in sales and forecasting would be excited to see some numbers to start. 77% of buyers say that their last purchase was very difficult, and by 2025, 80% of B2B sales interactions will happen digitally. This is based on a research by Gartner, as you can see in 2019 and 2020. So the idea behind all of this is really that the buying experience is not only complex, but there's an added layer of complexity with moving to digital sales. And this is the main problem that we're trying to solve with GetAccept today. This layer of complexity is adding more time on your sales cycle, is causing your reps to lose deals. So the number of lost deals is definitely increasing with this added layer of complexity here. And what we're trying to solve here is really just to empower revenue teams and sales reps to engage more with the buyers throughout the journey. And we'll see a little bit more about the details of that down the line today. So in short, this brings us to GetAccept and really the challenge here that we're solving. We are focusing on reducing the noise. So we're moving from this painful process of multiple channels, sharing, let's say, contracts via attachments, sharing folders through whatever drives you're using, shared drives you're using, your messaging, you're calling, you're joining Zoom calls. There's just all these channels. It's really hard to consolidate in one place. And we're moving into this painless process where you have one platform, one link, and one unique experience for the buyer and the seller. So it's really easy to say that we're not only creating the solution for the sellers to do better, but also for the buyers to have a better experience and an easier experience to choose what to buy. And this brings us to GetAccept in Salesforce. As you can see here, I like this because it kind of defines our product really well. If you look at the green section to the left, the deal room, this is the module that handles all communication from the second you get the prospect in, and as you engage with them and get them excited about your product and services, to the point where they're ready to get a proposal from you. And then you move into the contract room, and that's the blue section right here. And that is the second module in GetAccept. And that's when you share a proposal, a quote, negotiate, agree on the pricing, and then finally sign off that deal. And I would say that this really goes beyond that final signature, because with that deal room, contract room combination, you're looking at onboarding, let's say onboarding new clients, upselling them, scaling up the clients, and renewing and retaining the clients down the line. So the value of this link, which will always be the exact same link for that specific prospect, that specific company, will never change, and will continue to evolve as you evolve with that customer throughout your relationship with them. Finally, and last but not least, I wanted to highlight our Salesforce GetAccept integration. Few things really. Our integration is developed in-house at GetAccept, and it's native to Salesforce. So we are the App Exchange, and it's developed really to support revenue teams, like I said earlier, across different industries. GetAccept is also a Salesforce App Exchange partner, so meaning we're an ISV partner, and we continue to serve our customers with, again, I'm definitely partial, but world-class integration that is consistent more than anything else. So that is the one thing that we always promise our customers. So with that, maybe we skip this and we jump right into the demo. I'm gonna go in and share my Salesforce screen. Let me just switch here. And then what I will do now, like I showed you earlier, we have the deal room component and the contract room component. I am going to go through the deal room really quickly before I hand this off to Tarek, who will walk us through the proposals. So to create a deal room here, I am in an opportunity. Again, the integration can work in any object. This is what we're using today. So I'm gonna go through this here. I'm gonna go ahead and click create a deal room. and I will simply search the templates that I have already in GetAccept that are pre-built. View room template, hit continue, and now I can search contacts to add to the room. So I'm going to look up myself right here. I'm going to add me as a participant, and then I'll move on to the final step. And here I can choose to either publish the room directly from Salesforce or open and GetAccept to finalize the room. In most cases, I would say, not in many cases, in most cases, you would want to finalize this and GetAccept to make sure that everything is customized for this specific prospect in this case. If you have something that's generic that you'd like to share with the participants early on, then you can hit publish the room and you can always go back and make edits on the go. So now I'm going to click finalize and GetAccept, and this would actually take me to the actual room and GetAccept here. And everything you see here is customizable. So as you can see, as I go through this, I can make any changes I want to different sections. If you look at the top right corner right here, the room is unpublished, but I do have the participant that I've added in Salesforce in here already. And then let's say I wanted to come in and I simply wanted to add a video, an introduction video, introducing myself before our first call. I can simply click insert element, video, record the video quickly right here. And once I'm ready, let's go ahead and just do this. Use. Now we have video in the room. Click publish. And this will give me two options to share the room or invite the participant to the room. I can either notify via email with a button that will allow them to access the room, or manually send a link. So we'll generate a unique link that I can share with them over email. For example, if we have a thread that's already going. So I'll go ahead and send an invitation. Welcome to your deal room, and send invite. Once the room is published, that does not prevent you from making edits to the room. Again, this will continue to evolve as the conversation continues between you and the buyer. So as we go through this process, let's say we had our first meeting and I learned that you would like to learn more about the integration with Salesforce. I gave you a quick walkthrough and I wanted to give you a little bit more after the meeting. So again, it's all about engaging with the buyer throughout that sales process. I'll go to the hidden section that's called integrations right here. It's already in the room. I simply need to show the page. And once I do that, I'll be prompted on the top right corner to publish the changes. And I'll be able to notify all the participants that have added the section that we discussed, for example. So you can find the info we discussed about Salesforce. There you go. Publish and notify, and this will give a notification to anyone who's participating in the room. I can also invite other people into the room at this point if I want to, and then we can add more sections as we go throughout this process. So going to the mutual action plan, I can do the same thing, show page, adjust status for this step. I can add more tasks. I can also assign tasks to different participants in the room, not necessarily only controlled by myself. And then once we get to the final step, when they are ready to look at the pricing and getting to the negotiations phase, we will get into that contract, which is already hidden at this point. And then once we show it, we'll have the contract ready to be linked, and that's what we'll see with Tarek. But before I move to kind of the proposals with Tarek here, I'm going to show you one last thing. Throughout this process, as you share more content with your participants in the room, you will have access to our analytics tool that will track all activity within the room. So if you have 1, 2, 10 participants in the room, you'll be able to actually track their activities and what they're looking at. So you're not only seeing whether they've opened and they've looked at the room or not, but also checking if they're actually looking at all the aspects of the room that you have here. So once we share the contract, I'll be able to know who is actually looking at that section, who's actually looking at the mutual action plan, who got the chance to look at the integrations page. So when you come into the next meeting, you're always one step ahead and you're better prepared to actually tackle the conversation. So without further ado, I'm going to give this up to Tarek to walk us through the proposal process and how to add the proposals to the deal room here.
Perfect. Thanks, Ali.
Go ahead, Tarek.
So the first thing I want to show you before we jump into creating a contract, now that you've used the deal room to progress your sales process to that point, is a GetAccept template for a contract or a proposal. And if you're using the GetAccept editor to create that template, the first thing you should know is that it's dynamic content. You can see you're able to use GIFs. You're going to be pushing data from Salesforce directly into this template. I have video as part of it. I can link to case studies. But most importantly, I want to talk about how you display your pricing. So in this quote, I've actually got 2 pricing tables. That's what we call a display of products. And in the first one, I'm going to be showing recurring products, and I've split it into two groups, recurring licenses and recurring add-ons. There's no limit to how many pricing groups I can add. So you can really add as many as you want. And then I have another table below for one-time costs. And again, I could add more groups. I can add as many tables as I want. The important thing is these are going to be empty because all of the data is coming from Salesforce. And you can, of course, rename these columns. You also have the ability of adding different columns. So you can see here, I can add a tax column. Again, I can rename it. I can have subtotals. I can have discount, tax. You'll notice there's description and SKU, but all of this data is going to come from Salesforce. So that's what I'm going to show you, because the objective here is that you should be able to create these templates quickly as a manager, and then your sales reps will not have to think about how to display this pricing. So if we pop into Salesforce, like Ali said, I'm going to be on an opportunity as well, but you're able to use GetAccept from any object. You can see here, I already have a deal room created. And what Ali didn't show is that you'll always have access to the deal room from Salesforce. You'll see the status. You'll have the ability to edit from GetAccept, add new participants. But in this case, I want to create a contract. So we're going to click on the create contract. Automatically, I have a recipient that's been added from the contact roles, but I can add more. I have the ability of specifying if it's going to be an approver or a signer, or if there's going to be a specific signing order. And then now I'm going to pick that template that I showed you. But it's really important to note that for GetAccept, a contract room or a deal room, you put whatever content you have to make the process perfect for your buyers. So I have a GetAccept template that has the video, has the pricing, but of course I can also upload files from my local machine. But most powerfully, I can also include documents that live within Salesforce. So if you have any PDFs, terms and conditions, that will also be available, and it will be part of the same room. It will feel like one piece of content. And of course, you can also add it as an attachment. Automatically, of course, data is going to be pushed from Salesforce into that contract. The goal always is to save time for your sales reps, no more manual entry. This is just to validate that the data looks right. I also have some empty fields here, because I'm expecting my buyers to fill this information, and we'll talk about that more in a second. I also have the ability to quickly see the pricing table data that's going to be pushed from Salesforce. In this example, I'm using product line items and the linked Salesforce quote object. And the important thing to note is that GetAccept works with Salesforce product line items, CPQ, CPQ Plus, or any third-party CPQ that you're using that pushes information into Salesforce. And I'll show you how quick and easy it is to do that mapping once we've walked through this contract creation. Now I want to create my new contract. So I'm going to name it. I have the ability to customize an email if I would like. As Ali said, at GetAccept, we really care about personalizing the experience. So being able to record an intro video from the integration and upload it as part of that process is always an important part of the process for us. You can send this via SMS if you would like. I'm getting an error because there's no mobile number linked to the recipient. And of course, you have lots of other features that are part of the GetAccept suite, such as smart reminders and that kind of thing. Now, I have a few options with the contract. I can send it here and there'll be a new email with a link to this specific contract. But if you're using the deal room, you already have an engagement with your buyer. They already have a link. It's been updating as the process moves on. So what you would actually do is just create the document link here. And then in that deal room that you're working in, and this is one that I have open, you would go to the contract section. You'll notice in this deal room, I already have an NDA open, because often in a sales process, maybe there's a few different things that need to be signed. So I can already see that there's an NDA out, it hasn't been signed, but now I want to add this new contract with the pricing. And very quickly, I can see all of my open contracts and I can add that contract and I'll see those recipients and then I'll publish those changes. And again, it's really about making it painless for your buyers. There's no new email, no new link. You're able to notify them about the changes that are happening, and you're shortening that sales process, which is always one of our core objectives with our product. But what does it actually look like from the buyer's perspective? So that contract I've created that Mark is going to take a look at looks like this. So I have my video intro there. Again, you have your dynamic content, but most importantly, I have my pricing. And I can see all of this data came from Salesforce. The data went into the right group. So my recurring licenses has the right products, my add-ons have the right product, the one-time fees have the right product. You see the discounts, but again, it's all in your control and it's very easy to make changes. And you can have different templates for different customer segments where you have different kinds of proposals that you're sharing. What I'm most excited about at this point, though, is how do you negotiate? How do you update this, keeping Salesforce as your source of truth and making the process as easy as possible? Because I know from my interactions with our customers and prospects, this is often the most painful part of the process. You have a PDF that's been generated. You need to make changes. There's been some email back and forth. You go back into Salesforce, you make the changes, you publish it, you create a new PDF, you email it, and then you realize you put the name wrong, and then you do it all over again. And it's just not great for the buyer, and it's not great for the sales rep. But with GetAccept, I have the real-time chat here, and I can say I need more discount on the subscription. I make that comment, and now we go back to Salesforce and we watch how easy that process is going to be to handle. So what you can see first off in Salesforce is that on the top right corner, I have a notification here. I can see that that webinar, this contract room, sorry, has a new comment. I'd click on that, and then very quickly, I can see that comment. Oh, they need more of a discount on the subscription. I'm already in Salesforce. It's time to make the change. I'm going to edit that subscription. I'm going to add a bit more of a discount. Let's make it 25%. I'm not in sales, so, maybe I wouldn't normally go that high with the discount if I had a CRO on my back. But I've made that change. And for me, the magic part now, and of course, if you had an approval process in Salesforce, you would have to follow that process. The processes for changing pricing and keeping track of everything lives within Salesforce and conforms to your existing process. But now that you've gotten that approval, all you have to do is say update pricing tables to that existing contract. You're going to see that updated discount here. You're going to leave a comment, added a discount. I think you'll like it. We'll notify the recipient and we'll update that document. And what's happening is that same link that Mark has been looking at is going to automatically update. So you'll see on the top of the screen, you can see that the document has been modified. I'm going to click Review New Version. We see that comment I just made. The contract reloads. And just like that, I have my new pricing. And for us, that's really the value here, because you're shortening the process. You're keeping Salesforce at the center, and you're turning something that used to be painful, negotiating and getting the deal signed, into a seamless process. Because at this point now, you just have to sign the document. Now, there's one thing that I left out. We expect some information from our buyer. So of course, I'll fill that information before I sign. And I think you know where this is going. This data will automatically update in Salesforce. So using Salesforce flows, we've created a template that lets you map whatever fields you want to the correct fields in Salesforce. Again, saving your sales reps any manual entry, because sales reps don't like to enter anything manually. And you want to have the confidence that everything is going where it needs to go. And once that's done, I'm ready to sign the document, which again is the objective. You don't have another tool. GetAccept is doing it for you. And just like that, we're now ready to sign the contract. It's all come through the deal room. You have a seamless process embedded in your Salesforce environment to get you where you need to get. So that's kind of the core workflow that I wanted to show you. But very briefly, I want to show you technically how do we set that up. So I'm going to jump into our Salesforce GetAccept admin app. And this is within Salesforce. And I'm in our setup page under pricing tables. And you'll see here, I've created a special profile for this webinar. It's for sending from an opportunity. And you can specify these profiles to work for all of your users or for a specific template if you have a special template for a special kind of customer. But again, it can also be for all of your accounts or just some of your accounts in GetAccept. And you'll remember in the GetAccept template, I had a table that had the name recurring, and I had groups named recurring licenses and recurring add-ons. And I had another table named one time. You can add as many tables as you want to a profile, and we're only going to push data in the tables that exist for that template. So it's very flexible. And we make it so that you can kind of duplicate these configurations and make small adjustments so that configuring this is literally a matter of minutes. And I know that some of our competitors, this is one of the pains we're really kind of attacking. We have prospects who literally spend up to 10 man days of consulting hours to build new PDF templates. And that's a static template that doesn't really, it's not, the modern internet you're expecting as a buyer. So that's really what we're attacking here. Now, if we jump into that recurring table, I just want to quickly show you how you specify which products go into which groups. So if we go into recurring licenses, which is one of my groups in that table, and again, there's no limit, you'll see that I have the name of the group, recurring licenses, that maps to the template I showed you earlier, but I have what's called a group rule. And this group rule basically configures to whatever you want it to be. So in this case, I've been it's a demo. So I've just said, if product name equals enterprise subscription, that's the product that goes. But for most of our customers, this will be product type or product group or a bundle name or whatever it might be. That's how you will make sure the products go into the right group in a GetAccept template. And then for which data goes into which field, you can see here for the GetAccept name, you're going to specify, oh, it's the product name in Salesforce. For discount, it's the discount field in Salesforce. And for any Salesforce admins that are here, we're constantly thinking about how to make this process even easier. So you'll notice there's a drop down here, which shows you your different Salesforce fields so that you can find the correct field and make sure there's no mistakes. When we first released this, it was a very strong feature, but we still had some support cases where you picked the wrong field. And this way you really avoid that. I've also had the case where I talk to a Salesforce admin and they don't actually know what the field name is, but just by using these options, they're able to find the field that they need without having to open up another window. So I think this is really important for, we think a lot about Salesforce admins and people managing the CRM as much as we think about the sales reps and the sales leaders. This is a very easy tool to set up the way you need and to create that experience for your buyers with modern negotiation, mobile-friendly proposals, all tied into that deal room, one link, one platform view that Ali was showing earlier. And I have just a couple. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Tarek, before you move forward, I have a question that I was meaning to ask you when you were showing us the contracts. But Nick posted a really good question about the contracts. When you share the contract, there are multiple kind of recipients on that. The recipients on the actual contract itself, the signable proposal.
Yep.
How do you ensure, the question was, how do you ensure the right participant is clicking on that contract and signing? Is it specific to that specific contact, or how does that work? So if you want to walk us through that really quickly.
So everyone has their own link to access the contract or the deal room that they have based on your email address. So that's how you kind of make sure that the links aren't going to the wrong people.
Excellent. Perfect.
And the last thing I'll say is we really build our integration to be part of your sales process. And one of the ways we do that is being very flexible with Salesforce flows. So once a deal is signed, you generally expect many customers to have automation needs, things that they want to start happening, whether it be invoicing or onboarding. And GetAccept, really everything you've seen us do is available for actions within a flow or available for your own kind of custom builds. And we always think about how to make it easy to get started, but also give you the tools if you already kind of have an expert admin who knows what they're doing or lots of existing flows. But you'll see here, we have pre-built flows that are just one click to activate. The most common one is when a document is signed, I'm going to change the status of the opportunity to closed won. But of course, there's lots of other ones that are very powerful. You know, if a contract stays in reviewed status for too long, maybe 2 weeks or a month, I can basically flag that to a sales lead and say, hey, this deal is going cold. What are you going to do about it? So it's a very powerful way of making sure that GetAccept fits seamlessly into whatever sales process you have in Salesforce.
Excellent. Well, great walkthrough, Tarek. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. I think one of the things that I wanted to also highlight here, I think there are a lot of other capabilities we have with the pricing tables and the CPQ complementing GetAccept. Maybe in this in this case with the negotiations, this is something a little bit kind of off, but we do offer also optional products and optional line items. We offer variable quantities that you can actually enable within pricing tables. And these are kind of a couple of other features that we can go through with the pricing tables and GetAccept. And one question that came in early that we did not tackle was also the invites to, I think my apologies if I did not clarify that, but sharing a deal room or sharing access to that deal room happens on both sides. So you don't have, as a sales rep, I'm not the only person that's controlling access to that room. If I decide to make that room accessible by other people, any participant can actually invite others to look into the content you're sharing with them, and we track that activity. What I like the most actually, and Tarek probably knows this about the contracts and the way they work with the Salesforce integration, if you do share a contract and it's shared across the org with other decision makers, let's say, you will be notified and that information will be stored in your CRM as well. So we would create profiles for anyone that's actually taking a look at this contract within the organization under that company. So all of that is a part of the integration itself, which
exactly. So you can see it here in the contract. If you invite like the decision maker, maybe it's the CEO or the CFO to do the final, you can transfer the signing rights, and then you can invite that CFO. We're going to automatically create a lead or a contact in Salesforce. You'll also be notified here that that's happened within Salesforce. I think, again, we really prioritize keeping your workflow as much as possible within Salesforce. So getting those notifications and then being able to act upon them is really central to how we build the product.
Absolutely. And all this is flexible. So whether it's adding and transferring the signature right, like Tarek said, or inviting others or having the link accessible by anyone to kind of like the deal room itself, those are things that you can actually turn on or off. So you don't have to allow your recipients to transfer signature rights if you don't want them to, but you have the option of giving them that flexibility to really just reduce that time and reduce the sales cycle, which is really takes us back to the challenge that we're trying to solve with GetAccept.
Exactly.
Excellent. And I don't see any other questions in the chat. So if anyone here has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or Tarek. We're always happy to chat more about the integration itself and GetAccept. And then, of course, anyone that's registered for the webinar will receive the recording once we're done with the webinar as well. Thank you all for joining us today. Appreciate it. And thank you, Tarek.
Thanks, everyone, for your time. Yeah, thanks. Have a good summer, everyone.
Yeah. Enjoy your dinner, Tarek. Bye.
Bye.